Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Jake Gordon. The Braves lost last night, but I said, hey, they won the day because before the game, it was announced that Travis d'Arnaud, his option next year will become fully guaranteed, and now he has an option for 2025. So for all the people that were suggesting before the season at the trade deadline, he could be a trade candidate, Alex Anthopoulos went and nipped that in the bud. And this is just another example of a dude loving Atlanta and loving what the Braves are building. And I talk about guys coming here, and I talk about it when I talked about Ohtani maybe taking, a little bit less. But, there is an example after an example after an example of guys coming here and taking less. I mean, you talk about the Spencer Strider and the Michael Harris extensions. Obviously, those they probably could have waited out and maybe got a little bit more money. You talk about Sean Murphy and Matt Olson immediately coming over, signing extensions with the team. And now you got Travis d'Arnaud here, who is a backup catcher, could easily go and start for another team if he waited out this contract, could easily go and make more money if he waited out the rest of the contract. He's one of the 10 best catchers in baseball, and I think everybody would love him on their team. He's an invaluable clubhouse presence, but he said, you know what? I like it in Atlanta. I'm going to stay.
Yeah, and I think part of that too, I'm glad you brought up the whole being a backup catcher. He's not getting any younger. And I think at a certain age, a lot of catchers are probably okay with taking a little bit of a back seat. They're still heavily involved, clearly. He still DHs sometimes, if there's an injury or something like that. And, if he's comfortable here, he's comfortable here. He gets an extra year of financial security on top of that. He's had some injuries in his career. He had a concussion earlier in the year, right? And I think that's been an issue for him. My memory's a little foggy on that, but
yeah, he has four, I think he has 4 concussions over his career.
So yeah, there you go.
And he's been naturally kind of injury prone. I mean, even with the Braves, he's had several injuries. Remember, he tore that ligament in his thumb back in 2021.
Yeah.
Only played 6
that was when we had the Kevon Smith experience.
Well, so that's another thing. I want to touch on the thing that you just said.
Go ahead, yeah.
It's the $8 million for, catching every couple of days and then DHing. That's not a bad gig, especially for a catcher late in the that's not too bad of a gig. I know some people are like, oh, he probably wants to be a starter. You know what? Maybe I'll take a few $1 million of a pay cut, sit behind Sean Murphy, get all the glory. He gets no bash. Travis d'Arnaud could have a bad year and we'd be like, we still love you, Travis. There's no pressure here for him to be good, even though he's been fantastic with the team. But that was another reason why I said Travis d'Arnaud would never be. Alex Anthopoulos talked about how invaluable he is in the clubhouse, which I mentioned yesterday. But beyond that, we went through the whole Kevin Smith, Jeff Mathis, Stephen Vogt thing when Travis d'Arnaud got injured. They were never going to risk that again. They were never going to risk that in, because imagine if we traded Travis d'Arnaud and Sean Murphy got injured. Okay, now we're at Chadwick Trump, who definitely is not a major league player. Who the hell even backs up Chadwick Trump? We'd have to go out there and sign Kevon Smith again. So having that kind of security, I think there's not a lot of catchers in the big leagues that are good as d'Arnaud and Murphy at all. Well, I don't know if there's one as Murphy, but I think Alex Anthopoulos laid a blueprint that a lot of teams are going to start using, which is go get yourself 2 good catchers and make sure, because injuries and catchers are very common, and you need 2 of them because they need rest anyways.
Yeah, I always think it's funny. I wonder how, they Alex Anthopoulos approaches these things. Does he just call up? He's like, hey, man, you want an extension? It just seems so casual at such a kind of a strange time of the year. But we saw this even last year. I mean, you talk about 2022. His name is escaping me. We traded him to Milwaukee. Not William Contreras, the other one. Yes. That was the blueprint either way, because remember that offseason, he was the only catcher on there who was not just completely terrible. Jeff Mathis was ranked as the 4th best catcher in terms of WAR that offseason, and he was the first signing of the offseason. So
yeah,
I
know,
that's going to stay a priority.
Yeah, and that's before they even knew what William Contreras was. They knew William Contreras could be there. They also had Shea Langeliers at that time. So there was they went out there and made the deals to ensure that the catcher position was not going to be an issue. And it's something that they put a lot of emphasis on, and it's paid off in a big way. I don't think anyone knew Travis d'Arnaud was going to be this good. Sean Murphy's been spectacular. He had another big game yesterday. The catcher's position has just been a real strength for this team. I'm so excited to have Travis d'Arnaud back in the fold for the full time. Coming up after the break, we are going to talk about the Braves bullpen and do a little panic meter on the unit as a whole.